Okay, so here we are back at our drawing of our keyboard, and we're continuing to talk about intervals. And right now we're going to discuss how to identify the interval's number, what kind of interval it is, second, third, fourth, or fifth, based on the notes that we use. So now we use letter name notes from C to E or C to G, but we refer to that distance in a number form. It's a second, it's a third, it's a fourth, it's a fifth. Again, remember, we're not talking right now about major, minor, augmented, diminished. We're just talking about identifying the intervals by their distance, by the number that we would call it, whether we would call it a second, a third, a fourth, sixth, seventh, so forth and so on. So if we have one letter name, in this case a C, right, but it could be anywhere, and we go to the very next letter name, D, that's referred to as a second. Okay? That is a second, which means F down to E is a second, F up to G is a second, A to G, A to B, C to B, C to D. They're all seconds. From one letter name to the very next letter name is a second. Now, pause real quick for a second. We do not have a first in music. That would be C to C. And you can play that, but we don't call it a first. What we do is we call that a unison. If we're both singing the same note or playing the same note, we refer to that as playing in unison, but we don't call it a first in music. So the interval of a second is from C or any note to the very next letter name. In this case, maybe going down to B. That's a second. So now if you get the concept, if we go from C and we skip that next note, in this case a D, and we go to E, that is a third. From C, skip the next note, letter name, and play the next one, the E, that is a third. So anytime we start on a letter name, skip a letter name, and go to the next one, that is considered a third. So F to A is a third. F going down, skip to D, F to D is a third. B, skip a C, go to D, that is a third, right? After thirds, you can probably figure out pretty quickly that we have fourths. So if we skip both the D and the E, and we go to the F, now we've got a fourth. So C to F is a fourth, right? G, skip to C is a fourth, right? If we go B, skip the A, skip the G down to F, that's a fourth, right? And the same, so this concept's going to keep going. If we skip the note for the fourth and we go to the next one again, now we have fifths. So F, skip to a C, that's going to be a fifth, right? And we keep this concept going. So fifth, next in line is the A, is we have a sixth. Then to the B, we have a seventh, right? Then the last one, we have an eighth, or what we refer to in music as an octave. We generally don't call it an eighth, we call it an octave. So C to C is an octave. And anytime you have the two letter names, G to G is an octave, D to D is an octave, B to B is an octave, right? And that's how we break down the numbers using the intervals. We're playing one note to another, right? Again, remember, we're not talking about major and minor or diminished or augmented. We're just talking about how to identify the number of each interval based on the notes, the letter name notes that we're playing. We'll get to all that other stuff with major and minor and sharps and flats. We'll get to that stuff later. We just want to get clear on this aspect of it first. Okie doke? Well, that's it for that part of it. Thanks for tuning in, and look forward to sharing more with you later.